When you think of a jellyfish, you're probably picturing a translucent bell-shaped animal with long flowing tentacles. But just like humans, not all jellyfish are created equal. There's a jellyfish species born with a special gift, or maybe a curse: immortality. In today's video, let's see what is so special about the immortal jellyfish and what we can expect from them to extend the human lifespan. Firstly, let's take a look at the life cycle of a typical jellyfish. While the image of a flowing translucent bubble with tentacles is iconic, it's only a short stage in their life cycle. Usually, life of a mere mortal jellyfish passes through 5 stages: egg, planula, polyp, ephra, and medusa. It all begins with a male and female spawning their sperms and eggs into the ocean. When these two types of cells join up, a fertilized egg is formed. Then, this fertilized egg will grow into tiny larvae called planula. It looks something like a microscopic worm and can swim about freely. Next, the planula will swim down to find a solid surface to attach itself to. At this stage, the planula will develop a fully functional digestive system and become a polyp. When the condition is favorable, the polyp can reproduce asexually, cloning itself to create a small colony. After forming a new set of muscles and nerves, a polyp enters a new stage called ephra. The ephra is able to swim independently, feed, and grow. When reaching adulthood, it becomes a medusa, which bears the typical bell shape with flowing tentacles. The medusa's only main goal is to live long enough to reproduce. But the jellyfish's life usually ends during this stage. Many live for no more than a few months. As you can see, the medusa phase familiar to us does not represent the entire life of the jellyfish. It's just the end of it. And even before reaching old age, the mortal jellyfish could be eaten by many predators, such as fish, turtles, and crustaceans. Or maybe they could be placed on a dining table, consumed, and have pictures taken by us humans. However, while all the species are subject to the cycle of life and death, Turritopsis dohrnii, a.k.a. the immortal jellyfish, somehow figures out a way to bend the rules. This creature is only about 4.5 millimeters wide and tall, equal to your nail tip size. Tiny as it may seem, the immortal jellyfish has a unique ability to reverse its life cycle. When life is too hard for Turritopsis dohrnii, or if the Grim Reaper comes knocking, it will simply flip the normal jellyfish life cycle and turn back into a polyp. So cool, right? Why be an adult when you can be a kid? Under harsh living conditions, the immortal jellyfish will fall to the ocean floor and transform into a tiny blob of tissue, known as a cyst. This blob develops into a new polyp, the jellyfish's previous life stage, over the next 24 to 36 hours. And after maturing, medusae bud off. You can imagine this phenomenon like a butterfly transforming back into a caterpillar and then metamorphosing into an adult instead of dying. Theoretically speaking, the immortal jellyfish can transition between the medusa and polyp stages of its life cycle for an infinite number of times. But how can this happen? Magic? Fortunately, scientists have an answer. The immortal jellyfish's ability is powered by a process known as transdifferentiation. To understand transdifferentiation, we need to know cellular differentiation first. Take our human body as an example. Your body has various types of cells with different structures and functions, but all of your cells have the same DNA, so how could they grow into a whole different variety? Well, inside your body, there are cells called stem cells. These cells can specialize to become many different types of cell. Think of a stem cell as a lump of clay. From this, you can create pottery with numerous shapes and functions. The process in which stem cells transform into more specialized types is known as differentiation. This happens because genes can be switched on and off. For example, if a set of genes is switched on, a stem cell will become a nerve cell. If another set of genes is switched on, it will become a bone cell. After undergoing differentiation, many cells lose the ability to divide, and usually they can't change into a different type of cell. This is why a mature man can't turn himself back to a kid, to some extent. Meanwhile, transdifferentiation is the direct conversion of one cell type to another. This phenomenon is rare in nature. So far, we know that Newt's pigmented epithelial cells can de-differentiate and then re-differentiate into lens cells. Also, alpha cells in both human and mouse pancreatic islets have been shown to transdifferentiate to beta cells. But these are just cells transforming into another cell type of interest. The only known species in nature where adult cells change directly from one lineage to another is the immortal jellyfish. Scientists are still baffled by the exact mechanism of transdifferentiation of these jellies. However, the answer will most likely be found in their genes. And scientists believe that by carefully researching this creature, perhaps we can find some hints about the possibility of us humans escaping death. So, can humans become immortal like jellyfish? And how can I get some of that immortality? Unfortunately, while the immortal jellyfish can instantly go full Benjamin Button, humans are still a long way from mastering this level of transdifferentiation. As early as 1992, scientists had observed this phenomenon in Turritopsis dohrnii, and research into its secrets was ongoing, but were still far away from any kind of real-world application. However, the immortal jellyfish provides some clues for regenerative medicine. A big challenge in regenerative medicine is to create fully functional target cells to replace or repair damaged tissues. By doing so, we can treat a vast array of ailments and diseases. One way to do this is by taking already differentiated cells, induce them to become stem cells, then re-differentiate them into another type of cell. But transdifferentiation provides us a more effective way since it doesn't require the middle step of becoming stem cells. Recently, the breakthrough in using transdifferentiation for therapeutic purposes has been made in Dr. Deepak Srivastava's laboratory, San Francisco. The researchers successfully got fibroblasts, architectural cells of the heart, to transdifferentiate into cardiomyocyte-like cells, cells that are responsible for heart contraction. Taking a step further, they implanted these cells into the hearts of mice and discovered that they behaved just as expected. So while we still have so many barriers to overcome before this kind of treatment is available for humans, it is a prospective future. But when it comes to immortality and reverse aging, it's still a long journey. The search for the fountain of youth has long been going out throughout mankind's history. Now the question is, can we become immortal? Can we stay youthful forever? Maybe it's a far, far future for science. However, it doesn't mean it's impossible. The story about the mythical source of water that can turn back the biological clock has been recounted in many cultures around the world. Legend has it that the water can cure all diseases and restore the youth of anyone who drinks it or bathes in it. Also, in some spiritual practices, there were stories about mortal humans becoming gods after undergoing self-cultivation. They used secret methods to replace their body with high-energy matters, so they can reverse aging and live forever. What if the stories were true? That's all for today's video about the immortal jellyfish, the tiny creatures that just float around and live as long as they like. Of course, they'll die too, if they become the dinner of other predators. Now, we have one more question for you. What would you do if you could live forever? Share your ideas in the comment section and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.